Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
What is up, my MS champions? With your boy, Chris Carter, the MS Warrior, the MS Champion. Hope everyone's having a good day. My apologies for the little pause right there. Had to clear my throat. So let's just get right into today's topic. And today's topic is gonna be drinking and multiple sclerosis. So if any of you guys have followed me, or if you're new to MS Champion Radio, I'm gonna save my Instagram in the end of this segment, but I want to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and that's not necessarily drinking alcohol excessively, but I love me a glass of wine. I can't help it. I just love me a glass of wine, and I had to give up liquor, hard liquor, when I first was diagnosed, and my neurologist told me I can have a beer with dinner, but don't go overboard. And when it comes down to it, and they said, I believe, excuse me, not I believe, they also said I can have some wine as well. And other MS warriors drink wine, I found out, and they say it's a battle between, it's like a pro and a con to drinking when it comes to multiple sclerosis. And this is another reason why I haven't given it up, because it's a total relaxer for me. I don't do it as well. Excuse me. I'm so sorry for saying that. I don't do it as often as I would had I not been diagnosed. Trust me, I would have been drinking a lot more. But mainly, I just find that, it's just, like I said, a total relaxer for me. It gets me in a certain mood where I can just chill and relax if I'm having a bad day. Um, if I'm in excessive pain, I'll have just a glass, and liquor does not make me go in pain at all, So remember I had my mom thought, some days if I'll have a glass of wine or two, then the next day I'll be in pain. She's like, maybe it's because of the alcohol. I'm like, no, this is the disease. This is what it does to me. So I'm not going to blame it on the alcohol. Now, I read somewhere that, and I should have had the article like it's sitting in front of me, but I read somewhere that it could cause short-term bladder problems, sleeping problems, and liver problems, along with when you have multiple sclerosis. And the reason why I'm not worried about those things is because, one, I'm learning how to trust God. That's another thing we're going to talk about in this segment. Trusting God, trusting our destiny, trusting our fate. Our faith. And what is supposed to happen is going to happen. So I'm not going to drink myself to death and make this disease worse by drinking. That's what I'm not going to do. But if I want to feel good every now and then, I'm definitely going to feel good. I always am the first person to say we MS warriors have to sacrifice so much in this life from the day we're diagnosed. Because officially, when we're in the process of feeling symptoms and not knowing what's going on with us, we don't really know. We're just thinking, oh no, this can go away. This is this, that we ate something bad, so we don't know. So we have to cut back on things that wouldn't necessarily normally make us feel good. And wine has always been a relaxer for me. Wine, and it just does something to me. I'm sorry. So that's one thing I just can't, I'm not, maybe if I'm older and if my illness was progressing a little bit faster, maybe even then though, it's like, no, that's my relaxer. That's like somebody taking away, I've spoken about this before, my music away from me. Music and poetry, those are my safe havens, my life. The things that I feel like God has put in my life for a reason. I can't have those taken away from me. That's how I that's not necessarily. I don't feel that strongly about wine. I can't believe I was using those as comparisons, but it is one thing I like to do for myself every now and then. If I have some at home, or I go to a bar with a couple of my homegirls and we sit and we'll talk, and I'll have me my glass or two. So I don't feel bad about doing that. Now, one thing I did want to talk about when is the bladder issue. Now, I guess I should have stated this in the beginning. I'm not going to talk about drinking directly in all the way through this segment, so just kind of be prepared for that. But the bladder problem, they say when drinking, it could kind of make that worse, especially because bladder triggers something in our kidneys, and it makes us go to the bathroom. That's why if you've ever noticed that, especially if you're over 21, if you've noticed when you drink excessively or you go to a club and you have I think at least more than 2 or 3 drinks. I know for my experience, if I've had more than 2 or 3, I'm going to the bathroom like so much throughout the night at the club, and that's from the alcohol. So I'm just imagining having that problem on top of that, and because I'm drinking a lot of alcohol, that's not that's not something that I want to happen. But it's I'm not gonna drink it excessively to where it gets to that point. But again, what is gonna happen is gonna happen. What's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. So we can't change what is supposed to happen. And that's one thing I remember, just being in fear the first time after I was diagnosed of having a beer. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I was gonna have a beer. And I remember it was I think we went to some restaurant, me, my stepdad, my mom, and my grandfather, and I had a beer, and it felt good to have one, you know? So, okay, like it just felt really good to have one. I got to relax, got to do what felt how I felt, and I felt normal, it didn't trigger any symptoms. It didn't do any of that. So that's what another thing I want to talk about with me in my experience in drinking and having MS. It doesn't trigger any of my symptoms. Now, one thing that, like, kind of going a little sideways a little bit, it says about they say about staying away from red meat. I have completely cut out red meat. No. Steak, nope. I ate Chipotle today. I get chicken. I was very sad that I had to give up my steak, because steak was my everything from Chipotle. But the chicken is just as good, but it's not as good as the steak. But again, it's just as good. But little funny comment there. But red meat, yeah, stay away from that, because that can cause very bad inflammation and have us flared up. And I'm not trying to be flared up in that way. Oh, no. So that's one thing I have cut out completely. Never again. Never. So I want to talk. Yeah, I'll get a little bit deeper into the bladder issue, because I can just imagine the warriors / champions who are dealing with this bladder issue, because getting up, especially in the night, and I've heard, I can't remember where I heard this, but at night sometimes it's weird, because it's like our body adjusts certain ways and know when it's night and when it's not nighttime. So saying that to say, at night, especially when you lay down, that's when you go to the bathroom a lot sometimes. And people with MS who have that bladder issue can have to use the bathroom excessively during the night. And I can only imagine that, how I don't want to say annoying. I guess it would be annoying, but I don't think annoying is the right word. But how, I guess I'll say, frustrating that can be, knowing that you have to use the bathroom so much. And I remember as a kid, I had this virus that gave me a urine infection, and I was urinating so much, and it was just so crazy. And I remember I had to stay home from school for a few days because I kept going to the bathroom, and it was just a lot. So I can just, like I said, I'm just thinking about that, and then having it long term, because we have to live with this for the rest of our lives. So, just I feel for that. I feel for those who have to deal with that. And that's something like the neurologists, neurologists are always on us about certain things that we shouldn't do, but that's something that I wish like they could at least help, like give us like a pill, or I'm pretty sure there's medication to control it, but medicine isn't always helping. And that's another thing too. Medicine, my medicine recently isn't working for me anymore. Not Tysabri, but my medicine, that my pain pills. And I got quiet because it's just like that. It's a sensitive topic now. Not, I'm not making sense. Excuse me. Not a sensitive topic, but I don't like saying it because I'm very grateful that I have a pain pill to take, but it, I, I'll just wait to talk about that in another segment because when I bring it to my neurologist, I'm very nervous about what he'll say and what other pain pill he will prescribe. So, and he has suggested something else, but I'm like, I don't really know about that. So I think I'll have to pass. But, you know, so I'm hoping he can just find or prescribe me a medicine that will actually work for me. That's all I'm hoping. That's all I'm praying for. Another thing I'm going to talk about is fatigue. And, fatigue is a symptom of multiple sclerosis. And lately, when I was first diagnosed, I was having fatigue, and it was extremely bad. And it had got a lot better with fatigue. I didn't really have that issue in the summer as much, but now that it's transitioned to winter, I'm having that problem a lot. Today in class, in my art class, I'm taking a pottery class. It was quite a few times where I was like, when I felt my body like getting ready, like I don't want, my mom says not to say shut down, but my body is like getting ready to say, it's like my body's talking to me like, Chris, it's time to go lay in the bed. And I'm like, I wish it was like a room somewhere in that school I could just go lay down in, because I was getting so tired. And that's so hard to push through. Pain and fatigue are the hardest thing to push through. Numbing, all of my symptoms are hard to push through, but those are the worst too. And the fatigue, it gets so extreme. And as we speak in this moment, I'm feeling very fatigued, and I absolutely hate this feeling, because when I start getting like this, I don't want to do anything. Like I want to start on, well, I don't really have any homework, but I want to start reading my new book, and I really don't feel like doing it. Not that I don't want to, because I love reading, but I just don't feel like it, because my body is telling me something. It's like my body's saying, Chris, don't move. And that's how I feel. I promise you, that's how I feel. I wanted to go to the store and actually get some wine, because I had me a wine slushy earlier, and it relaxed me. But then I was feeling very fatigued. But I got up, and that's another thing. I'm like, I got up to drink that wine. But once you start getting up and moving around, sometimes, I don't know if any of you guys have this issue, but you start getting up, moving around, it doesn't help the fatigue at all. It feels like it makes it worse, and that's what it has done for me. I feel it has came on a lot stronger. Now I just want to sit and lay in the bed, but I know for a fact that I can't do that, because it's just gonna linger, and linger. But again, I'm not gonna push my body to its limits. I'm not gonna make it worse. I don't I'm not gonna, excuse me, I was gonna say I don't care. I'm not gonna say I don't care what anybody says, but I have to listen to my body. I don't know how much I want you guys to understand that. So, fatigue, and it's my fatigue, like I said, lately, it's really been bad for about, I say, the last couple months, because it really started at the beginning of November, and it's just been gradually getting worse, and I haven't even said nothing to my mom. And I want to know, this is like, when I go to my neurologist, this is an issue that I have. Like I said before, guys, listen to your body, but ask your neurologist questions. They don't work for us. excuse me, we don't work for them, they work for us. Our insurance pays them to do their job. We pay them out of pocket still as well to do their job, and that's what they're there for. So I have to, and I'm telling you this because this is something I have an issue with, because I'm afraid of answers, and not because I don't want to answer that I don't like, but a lot of times I'm afraid of an answer that I'm scared of, and I need to stop. I need to break that fear. So I need to start asking questions. Is there a medicine I can take for my fatigue? Is there a medicine I can take for my nausea? I get extreme nausea. I can't, like I said, I believe I spoke about this in another segment. I can't hold certain foods anymore. So it's a lot, you know. So and that's another. As soon as I go to my neurologist, I have another appointment with him in 3 months. I'm gonna ask him, is there a medicine I can take for my fatigue? And then something else that I kind of worry about too is like, am I supposed to, you know, not supposed to, but can I mix medicines with the Tysabri? Or if I get pain medicine, fatigue medicine, and then medicine for my nausea, is that going to interact with my infusion medicine? But I doubt it, but it still wouldn't hurt for me to ask. So I'm definitely going to ask, and I'm definitely not going to be afraid to ask. You know, from this day forward, you guys, let's stand up for what we want, stand up for our rights, because this is our body, this is our disease. We have to live with it. And another thing that I want to speak about is, I've spoken about this a little bit before, but I want to speak about this a little bit more. And this is going to be like the end of this segment. Don't ever feel bad when someone doesn't understand your condition, and don't force someone to understand your condition, because it's your condition. Only you know what you go through, and other MS warriors understand what you go through. They know you're not faking. They know. And my own, you know, it hurt me to hear my own neurologist tell me he thinks it's more of emotional things that I'm going through. That really hurt, you know, because I have this illness. So I couldn't believe he said that. And like I said, I like him, but I just couldn't believe he said that. And he you know, he knows all of my symptoms and knows the pain that I'm in and go through. But when he said, you know, certain things are emotional, and I can, like I said, I understand that, but this disease is deeper than that. This has real symptoms to it. Just because, you know, and I think, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think because people say it's not deadly and it can't kill you, but any disease is not easy, especially asthma. I have asthma, but I believe I spoke with that. I keep saying that. Spoke about that in another segment too. I haven't had an asthma attack in a very long time. But I remember as a kid the struggle of every time I had an asthma attack, and I had to have an asthma pump at my preschool, and every time I would go to recess, I would have to go take a pump, take 2 puffs, do that, and that would be that. And couldn't run outside for a while because I get tired and different things in regards to that. And that's not easy. So even though asthma is a condition, they don't consider it as a disease, but it's not easy. You don't understand we wouldn't understand what somebody would go through when they tell you that, you know. So again, don't feel bad. You know, everything is, especially even with us, everything in the world is not for us to understand. For an example, for a song, somebody writes a song, you know, and we don't understand it, maybe it's not for us to understand, if that makes sense, you know. And say in an interview, the singer says, I don't want to address this, let's leave this to the imagination. That's the way they wanted to write the song. We have to respect that as the artist, as them as an artist. So it's for our imagination. We depict it how we want it. But again, that's meant, it's not for us to directly understand. For us directly to understand. So this disease, not everybody can understand, and not everybody can handle you having a disease, or not everybody wants to talk about that. So don't force it on anyone. Don't be embarrassed because you have this illness. Don't be embarrassed to walk with your cane. And with me, I would have never thought, because I'm gonna be honest with you, probably at 15, 16. No, I don't think well, I probably would have been shy, not embarrassed per se, but I probably would have been shy, like, oh my gosh, I don't want nobody to tease me because I'm walking with the cane. But in all honesty, walking with the cane, I guess because we see a lot of elderly people walk with those and older, but I shouldn't say older, but you know, because we see a lot of elderly people walk with them, that doesn't mean anything. But we, with people with MS, we have to use a cane. We have to use wheelchairs. So, and I've had to use both. When I was in the midst of being diagnosed and getting tests ran, I had to use a wheelchair going to the hospital. My leg would not keep its balance. It was very hard. I'll never forget that day. So we just take the time out and think to yourself and be grateful because you have this journey now where this is going to be with you for the rest of your life. Use it, take it, raise some kind of awareness, start your own nonprofit organization. And I'm saying this because these are things that I want to do. I'm raising awareness on Instagram, YouTube. I want to start my own nonprofit. Like I've talked about these things before. So I just want to inform you guys and help you, those who could be battling with the fact that somebody doesn't understand. Not everyone can handle it. So don't beat yourself up for that. That's not your fault. It's not your fault. You have this illness. I'm really starting to believe this saying, God doesn't give you anything that you can't handle. Though we can't handle it at times, but for some reason, we MS warriors, and I'm seeing it all over my Instagram. We are some strong people. And I'm sitting here, tears are coming to my eyes because it's a blessing to see other people like me battling with this illness, and we get to comment under each other's pictures, uplift one another, say encouraging things when we're having bad days. We get to talk about the bad days and talk about the good days, the good things we can do, and it's a blessing. And I can't imagine my life without my MS family. You guys are my brothers and my sisters. I love you guys so much. Like, I'm getting really emotional because I could not do this by myself. And when I was first diagnosed, I hit it from February, March, April, May, June, July, August, for basically 7.5 months till, 6.5 months basically, till I just had a change of heart. And I really feel like that was God. God had spoke to me, told me, Chris, you got to use this for the better. And when I get messages as I always say, from people saying, keep doing what you're doing, I know what you're going through, or I can imagine going what you're going through, but I would have never known. That makes me feel so good because I know I'm doing the right thing. My mom was very on the fence and didn't want me to raise awareness because she was fearing that people would judge me, because people can judge you when you have an illness. But I saw past that. I saw something in myself and felt something in my heart and my soul and my spirit and my faith that I have to talk about this. It's a lot of men of color. It's a lot of men out there. It's a lot of women out there, women of color, any other race. I don't care what race you are, that people need this. And if I can be that other face, that new face, I'm going to be that face to speak about it. And it just has to be a good outcome from it. And it's been nothing but a good outcome. So in closing, I just want to tell you guys, stay up, wrap up in this cold. This is cold and flu season. Talked about that in the last segment. We don't need to catch anyone's cold. We don't need to be inhaling any germs, even though we inhale germs basically every minute. But, still, I don't know if we inhale, but, the air isn't always clean. So be careful, stay up, guys, be strong, be warriors. Don't be ashamed to be a warrior. Be proud to be a warrior. Remember, you're a warrior for life. I, Chris Carter, I have it with you. We're not only sufferers, we are warriors. I want you guys to remember that. We're suffering, but we're striving. We're weak at times, but we're strong always. Remember that. I'm Chris Carter, the MS champion, the MS warrior. You can find me on my social media at Young MS Warrior. MS Warrior, Young is spelled regular, as I always say in every segment, because we use a lot of slang in this generation, and in every generation they use slang, but still, just like to make sure and have clarity. Young MS Warrior, that's my Instagram, and my YouTube is the same, Young MS Warrior. I'll be making new vlogs tomorrow and talking about different things. I'm very excited about the vlog that I have coming up because I think it's going to be really, really dope, and I hope people really receive it well. So again, Chris Carter, the MS champion. Let's do this. Let's fight. Love you, warriors.